We'll scrap that old timeline and move in with the new one because apparently the Supercharger network is opening up to non-Teslas by the end of this year, according to Elon. And he's talked about doing this for a long time, but nothing has officially been decided on. But this is one of the most recent timelines he's ever referenced because this would infer that within the next 5 months, you'll be able to take third-party electric vehicles to a supercharger and charge up. And in traditional Elon fashion, he answered a question and it spawned more questions from me, because we still don't know if this is launching in Europe primarily or if this is also going to be in the United States. And even if it is in the US, Tesla's going to have to start selling some accessories soon, because there would have to be some type of Tesla to CCS adapter out there that maybe only Tesla could sell for whatever they charge, meaning it could be very expensive, and Tesla could also have high rates for non-Tesla vehicles and probably make a lot more money off those people. Although in the past, officials from Tesla has said that the Supercharger network was not intended to be a source of profit. Basically, yes, it does cost money to open up new stations and maintain those stations and of course charge the vehicles, but it's not meant to be a big funnel of cash. They're not trying to make the company more profitable simply by charging extra for third-party EVs to charge. But who knows, maybe that mission statement is adjusting and they do actually want more EVs to be part of the supercharging network. But the biggest concern I have is that if Tesla does open up the network, I'm sure there's some benefits. You know, it helps people feel more comfortable switching to electric. It sheds some light on some EV alternatives that Tesla owners may not know about. It certainly would prevent the government from thinking Tesla is trying to become a monopoly and being too dominant in the market. It's like, okay, they're taking active measures to help their competition. But probably my biggest fear is that more EV automakers out there are going to feel like they don't have to try with their charger network and they don't have to add to the charger network to make it better or innovate much, because they get to say, well, our EV works on superchargers, which is the most expansive, massive charger network in the world, so don't worry about it, you can go everywhere. And that results in more and more EVs kind of piggybacking off of all the work that goes into the supercharger network, and that could very quickly clog them up and make their longer wait times. There's already lots of high populated areas where you have to wait to charge because there's so many cars charging at the same time. So if Tesla is allowing third parties to charge, they're going to have to rapidly deploy many more superchargers as quickly as possible. And I talked about this not too long ago, but because I think it's such a good idea, I'm going to repeat myself for the people in the back because I think this is the best way to handle it. I think Tesla should open up the supercharger network to only EV exclusive brands. That gives a kickstart to all of these startup companies that need as much help as they can get, like your Rivians, your Lucids, or even your Apteras. They're not going to be delivering in super high volume at first, so they're not going to overwhelm the supercharger network, and it encourages the major legacy automakers to transition their entire fleet to electric as soon as possible, because then they'll have access to the best charging network in the world. So Porsche would not qualify because they're still selling vehicles with the internal combustion engine. But if they wanted all of their Taycans to have supercharging access, they would have to make sure that they're only selling electric vehicles. And knowing Porsche, that's probably going to take a while, which is good because it gives Tesla time to expand the network to reach that added capacity. And I think that would support Tesla's mission statement of trying to transition the world to more sustainable energy without being too pessimistic towards the competition, without being too negative. And it shows Tesla does care about electric vehicle startups and making sure that they have the best incentives for people to buy their vehicles. I also just think it would be amazing if the Aptera had supercharging access. But also, same thing with Rivian. You know, there's going to be a lot of new Rivian customers, hopefully by the end of this year. And I think their vehicles would honestly fit in the supercharger stalls a lot better than the Cybertruck would. So that's something else Tesla is going to have to get on with the supercharger network, making wider stalls for their larger vehicles. And I can imagine Tesla probably end up having strict rules depending on which EVs are accessible to supercharge, because if you have a really slow charging EV, Tesla is not going to want your vehicle stuck there for 2 hours charging if there's some other Tesla owner that needs to charge and they only need to charge for 10 minutes. So I could imagine there being a lot of idle fees and a lot of fine print that says, okay, if you're charging your Chevy Bolt at the supercharger, you can only be here for 15 or 20 minutes. You're not going to get a ton of range out of this. And of course, you have to go through the app, plug in exactly what supercharger you're at, and put in what stall you're at. And the supercharger will charge as quickly as possible, because Tesla's mindset with supercharging isn't about getting the car up to 80 or 100% every charge. It's just about getting you up enough to that you can reach your next charge station, and without that Tesla software integrated into third-party electric vehicles, they're just not going to be able to detect how long you need to charge for. So don't be shocked if they open it up in the United States and start saying, okay, you can only charge for 20 minutes. After that, you gotta leave. And if you don't leave, you're going to get charged idle fees. Basically, they're going to make it as inconvenient and difficult as possible for non-Tesla owners because they don't want too many third-party EV makers thinking, oh, we don't have to try anymore. We don't need to expand our network. We don't have to innovate with charging technology because we got the supercharging network access now. We're fine. We'll just include the adapter with all of our vehicles and then people can call it a day. But either way, I'm glad Tesla is looking into this. I just hope they can do it smartly because it could end up being a disaster if there's no fine print and they just open it up to everyone and people are hogging up the superchargers, especially if there's like a $100,000 Model S someone is driving around and it's time to supercharge and they pull in and it's just completely clogged with slow charging bolts, so they're not able to charge their vehicle. That's not a great look for Tesla or for the Chevy Bolt. So I'm curious to hear how you guys think Tesla should handle opening up the supercharger network by the end of this year. It's a lot closer than we thought, and I also wouldn't be shocked if it stays in Europe originally because they have the same connector there, so no adapter necessary. But all that good stuff, feel free to let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.